Alright, so once we have this established, there's one other thing that must be done. Technically, there's two shells standing on top of each other. If I highlight one single UV and then highlight one single UV over here, I can go Control right click to shell, and you'll find that this is true. Okay, I need to establish the top from the bottom and the side. So I need this one in primary focus. It looks like I got lucky. And this seems to be the shell right here. I know that because I can go to face and highlight this face, and these faces highlight. Okay, so this one is good. This one right here is on the bottom, so that's also not so good. Let's see. I need to switch these around. Just like that. And we're going to put that one down here. Since this side right here does not even show, we're going to tuck this up against the building. And since the bottom does not show, I'm going to choose to put them here. And I'll explain this. This is the only time that you'll see me do this, is when I'm mirroring the UVs over to another quadrant. Okay, and it's kind of hard to explain. Just pretend that this checker pattern goes to infinity. Okay, well, if that's true, anything from the first UV set will mirror upon any of the other quadrants. So this one will mirror onto this one, will mirror onto this one. Okay, they're all just mirrors of each other. So what I'm going to do is keep this shell down here, because wherever this shell is, if it's here in the bottom quadrant in the same spot, and I can line this up later, it'll mirror itself over. Okay. So all buildings should have that. Here's the top. It's sort of into the picture. This side is definitely inside the picture. The back, I'm not going to be using at all. And if I wanted to, these two sides, or the sides and top or bottom, will come into play later, maybe. But it doesn't hurt to have it set off to the quadrant. Not for what I'm doing. I'm going to save this scene, and I'm going to show you the next step to make sure that you realize why I'm doing this. Okay. So I'm going to put this door back into play. I'm going to take this window, and I'm going to duplicate it. Duplicate it one more time. These assets don't have UVs yet, but I need them to be where they're going to be. Okay. This is to show you exactly what my plan is. So I'm going to save this out, and I'm going to go into rendering. Here, I'm going to make sure batch baked mental ray is on. This means I have to turn on mental ray. If I go to plugin manager, I can make sure a Maya to More bundle is loaded. And close that out. Now you'll see that it is in fact loaded. Okay. I'm going to go in here to go File, Project, Set. I'm going to make sure I set this to be the project folder on my desktop. Okay. Just making sure that Maya is maximized. There we go. That way I can see this bottom area right here. and I'm going to go into batch bake mental ray, square box. Alright, what I'm doing is a single object. This is a single object. Okay, so single object. I want to use bake set override. I'm concentrating on occlusion. And occlusion is this. It self-shadows any area in here. Okay, so in other words, if this door is in place, it'll shadow this inner area to match, to make sure there's a door there. Okay, we're going to call this building 1. Underscore OCC for ambient occlusion. 2048 by 2048. I always keep it a number of samples of 4. I'm going to bake it to one map, but I'm only going to use the range 0 to 1. Okay. Save my scene. Have the building highlighted in object mode and hit convert. This will probably only take a few seconds because really the scene's kind of lean down right now. It has very little problematic areas. All the UVs are laid out well. And that's the key to ambient occlusion right there, is you make sure everything's lined up. Anytime there's an overlapping UV, anytime there's two objects put together via combined, these things take time. Alright, so looks like it's going to bake out pretty good. I would just fast forward through the video here until it gets done. Alright, so this is what we have now. Now, it doesn't look like much, but trust me when I say this is a really good thing to have. See this noise that's occurring here? Okay. Also, look in the areas of the corners. They're all shaded. Let's look at the map. Okay. You can see that the inner areas here are darker. So when I lay a texture on top of this in Photoshop, it's going to look really nice. I'm going to use this as the shadow in Photoshop. Now look at what happened here at the bottom. I'm going to lift this building up, kind of show you exactly what it goes. Okay, here's the bottom part of it. Notice that it's a little offset. Who cares, because nobody's going to see the bottom, right? But in case I really wanted to use the bottom, all I would have to do is match the quadrant at the top with the bottom. So I can move this shell around and it fixes that, because it's mirroring this one down below. Okay. And let's use the same thing with the building side. Now I don't have to do this. It's just a lesson to show you why I set UV pieces down here below. Okay, it's just because they're going to mirror perfectly to the top. Now, very important that we keep a good naming convention at this point. What I just showed you is pretty advanced for a lesson 2. So this is going to be called building 1. Okay. And that OCC that I just rendered out is located here on my hard drive under render data, mental ray, light map. Here's building 1 OCC. You should move this into the root. Okay. Never keep any maps in here because they will overtopple themselves. Building 1 OCC will be used later on in the lesson. Your mission still is to get everything with a good UV pattern. Okay. And save everything out. So now complete all the buildings with the UV pattern, knowing how to do it and why. And then after we're done with that, we're going to concentrate on some of the smaller assets and then start building textures for the buildings. Alright, that's in the next video.